Bumabalik po ang Poll Watch at Tito Joe, mukhang meron tayong comment, question mula sa ating isa sa ating mga tagapanood.
Babasahin natin, from Maria Sonia Fuego, Matina, Davao, via Yahoo chat. Is it within the absolute power of the President to appoint whoever he wishes to? What is the mandate of the Commission on Appointments and the power over this? The next DNR chief is not an environmentalist. He's into mining business. Could we make an appeal about this? Unang-una, di pa natin alam kung sino yung sunod na DNR secretary, ano?
Pero may mga lumalabas yatang pangalan. Pero comment lang, sir. Pwede bang ma-appoint sa DNR daw kahit na hindi environmentalist?
Yeah.
Technically speaking.
Yeah, of course.
Di ba naka-DNR na tayo na general?
Sa akin, mas mahusay pa kung hindi siguro environmentalist. Because the environmentalists have tended to become ideological. And which means they are moving towards a certain advocacy, which is still debatable because what they're focusing on are all theories, like global warming. These are not stated facts. We have accepted them as facts, but they are actually very controversial issues. No?
Sunod lang, sir, na tanong po. Quick question.
But if we may go back muna sa tanong niya, yung power ng President to appoint, well, it's almost absolute now. Of course, commission on appointments, of course, dadaan yan kung miyembro ng kabinete yan. He or she has to go through the commission on appointments. Dapat yung kanyang designation as a member of the cabinet of the President has to be confirmed by the commission on appointments.
Kasi countervail yan ng legislative as commission on appointments, mga legislators yan. Yeah. So, kailangan may approval on the side of the legislature. Pero in most cases naman talagang makakalusot ang kung sino gusto ng
Ika nga, the person or the appointee must have the full trust and confidence of the President. That's why may leeway siya.
Kaya ako, ang gusto ko pong itanong kanina ay yung quick question ko paano nakatulong ang isang CPA bilang undersecretary ng DEX?
Oh. Well,
figures.
It's not that. It's systems.
Systems.
What you call check and balances. No? And I think up to now they are still implementing the systems that we have implemented for DEX, unless they have thrown it out the window, because everybody will, you see, what I started there was to set up a system to make it difficult for people to connive and conspire, because if you want to steal especially in institutions like that, you have to connive with other people. You have to connive with outside and with inside, and within inside you have to. So my experience as an external auditor went into play when we started coming up with better systems, so that it made it just more difficult. Siyempre, the more connivance, the more possibilities. But that means the risk is theirs to be found out.
Yusek, can we expect na this year makikita na naman natin yung mga libro na binibigay sa ating mga estudyante? Can we expect na ganun pa rin, mali pa rin ang mga grammar, talagang ang layo sa karapat-dapat na ibibigay natin sa ating mga mag-aaral?
Yeah, well, that is really a function, an administrative function of with checking and researching whether these things are accurate.
Is corruption also an endemic part of this?
Yes, because people who claim to be publishers are not really publishers. No? They get a contract supposed to be a publisher's license, no? And then get somebody else to do it. No? If Brother Armin Luistro will have had probably, I suppose, the administrative experience to be able to ferret out these types of things. And I wish, of course, all the luck to...
Of course, a lot will depend on the Secretary of the DepEd para mawala ito.
Pero ma'am, kindly comment po. Sabi nung kanilang walang mahirap kung walang corrupt. How is that possible?
Para sa akin, corruption is only part of the problem of poverty. Dahil ang effect ng corruption ay yung funds na dapat mapupunta sa poor, mapupunta sa services para sa kanila ay pumupunta sa corruption. Pero ang causes ng poverty are so much deeper. As I was saying, it is linked to lack of jobs. It is linked to the fact that millions of Filipinos, wala silang assets na magpuproduce ng products, magpuproduce ng income para sa kanila. It is linked to the fact na kulang yung kanilang edukasyon. So maraming rason at ang poverty nagpapaworsen lamang, ang corruption nagpapaworsen lamang ng poverty. So it could be part of the solution, but it does not mean na automatically ipso facto poverty will disappear if you erase corruption.
It's not that simple, ika nga.
No.
Our problem, ika nga, napaka-komplikado. Hindi pwede yung yun lang ang ika nga solusyon.
And at the risk of maybe going into a subject that might be a little off now from politics, but maybe I'm sure Liling Briones understands this. We were talking about debt service earlier. Okay? The biggest burden of expenditure of the government is debt service, right? We have foreign debt service and domestic debt service. When you put them together, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about 800, pretty close to 800 billion.
Every year.
Every year. And you have a budget of 1.4 trillion, right? So
More than one half.
the country is made to function with something like the remainder, which is
700 billion.
700 billion. And yet your total budget is 1.4 trillion. Now, where do you get it? You have to, in order to pay and service this debt, you have to impose value-added tax and continue to impose that. But it still is not going to be enough. You have to borrow now what you need to use to pay, right? And you borrowed either domestically or foreign, by issuing bonds.
Would any of you be in favor of a debt service moratorium?
I am.
How about you, ma'am?
I would be in favor of a debt service moratorium for as long as na moratorium din ang interest. Kasi yung sa ating karanasan, kung mag-moratorium tayo na hindi naman minomoratorium ang interest, lalong lumalaki yung debt kasi nangyari yan for 18 straight months tayo
Do you think the President-elect Noynoy would implement that or would agree to such a debt service moratorium?
Considering the predilections of his impending cabinet, I doubt it very much.
But whether he should, I think he should really seriously look into it, because the way we see the debt, I'm talking as, of course, the Philippine LaRouche Society, which is a think tank. The way we've understood the debt, it is a debt which started to balloon when we went into a floating exchange rate system, wherein whereas before you need 4 pesos to pay the $1 debt, now you need pretty close to 50 pesos to pay the same dollar debt. Now, what happens is you have to keep on borrowing in order to pay what you owe, right? Now, so if that's the case, then the principal amount of the debt starts to balloon. So in effect, it is a debt that we're paying, but we never really received, meaning it has not been beneficial in terms of building up the economy for jobs and so on and
That's
so forth.
absolutely right. Kasi yung makikita natin yung sa first quarter numbers on the debt dahil 265 ang total revenue, January to March. Pero ang debt service ay 300 billion. So yun palang pambayad lang ng utang.
Kulang
ay yung
pa.
pambayad ng sweldo, pambayad ng hospital, pambayad ng empleyado, and everything else.
Pero
uutangin mo din yun.
Meron po akong isang tanong sa inyong pareha, sir. Medyo in relation din dyan, but since kayo po ay mga former cabinet, former officials of the government, how important is it for a president, a sitting president, to be hands-on doon sa inyong departamento, o yung hindi kayo pinapakailman sa inyong departamento, pinapabayaan kayong gawin ng trabaho? For example, sa inyo, ma'am, in the case of your
president?
Of your appointing authority, in your case, nung kayo in-appoint, siya ba'y nakikialam, siya ba ay hindi nakikialam sa inyong decision?
At yan po, Professor George, ay sasagutin nila after we pause for a break.